everybody and welcome to Hawkeye FX with your host Marcus Toombs on the 18th of August 2017. In this video I just want to take a look at exaggerated moves. What I mean by these are that in the summer months when it's very quiet we have long periods of no pip movement and a lack of news releases, and then suddenly along comes a news item and this has a dramatic effect in the market where the moves are generally larger and more exaggerated than they would otherwise be in normal market conditions. Okay, so that happened on the CAD news today, and this was our only major news of the day. You can see here it's the CIP inflation report out of Canada, and you'll see the figures actually came in worse than expected for the month on month, but in line with expectations for year on year. However, as you can see in the charts, the price took a large move down, and this was far more exaggerated than we would otherwise expect. Okay, so let's take a look at the charts running into that news item, and you can see here on the CAD Japan, this is very typical. We have a very small range all through the London morning session with low volume, as you can see here, and the dots going through the middle of the bars going from high to low with lots of pivots painting in our charts. Now if we look at the other currencies, you can see this is the same here on the New Zealand CAD, the Aussie CAD, the Euro CAD here, the US dollar CAD here, and also the pound CAD there. Now this wasn't just in the CAD pairs. If we look at all the other pairs, you'll see a very similar story here running into the news announcement here. You can see the Euro US, very small pipment, maybe 30 pips all morning, and same with the pound, the US Japan, the Aussie, the New Zealand here. We look at the pound, very similar story, low volumes all through the London morning session and small pip movement. The Euro, very similar in the charts with very tight range, dots through the middle of the bars. The Aussie, very similar story here, and then also in the New Zealand pairs. You can see here, very small pip range, horizontal dots and going through the middle of the bars. And then finally in Japan, you can see a very similar story going into the news announcement. Very little pip movement and very little volume. Now if we look at the market after the news has happened, you can see the volume has picked up here in all the Canadian pairs, and the market also uses this news or the excuse to pick up the volume in other pairs. Here we can see it in the Japanese pairs, which started to go on more of a trend run, even though the news was to do with the Canadian dollar. And here to a much lesser extent in the Euro, we saw an increase in the volume, and here in the US dollar pairs to a lesser extent the volume that's come in following the news announcement. Okay, do watch out for this release of pent-up price action that we saw today in this news release, and this will continue to happen on occasion through for the rest of August. Wish you all the best for the weekend, and I shall see you next week.